Blended Embroidery by Brian Haggard is just brimming with gorgeous illustrations and ideas and inspiration. And now that I've spent the afternoon curled up with it, I don't know why I spent so long with this book in my house without opening it up to get past the gorgeous cover and see what it holds. It is fantastic. The author creates what he calls vintage hybrids, where he uses old materials alongside new materials to make, I would call them fantasy pieces, things that look like they could have existed and been honest to gosh antiques. Some of them definitely have a newer slant. They are just, my imagination is racing after spending the afternoon looking through this book. He starts out talking about the older materials he uses and how to acquire them, starting with looking through your own attic and maybe talking to family members to see if they have some old treasures that they don't particularly want but are only holding on to because it's a family piece and it's special. And shopping at antique stores and flea markets, and he's got bargaining tips and just all kinds of ideas. There is a stitch dictionary, which, if you have other embroidery books, I think a lot of these techniques are going to overlap. And this is not a pattern book. There are a few patterns, but the strength of this book, I think, is in the gallery section at the back, where he shows you his projects and describes the inspiration behind them and what tools and techniques he used to make them. It is just, there is one particular project in this book that I desperately want for myself. I'll show it to you in a minute. And then there are a lot of ideas I want to mimic and put my own spin on. So the lace maker is one of the projects with instructions and measurements along with this scissor sheath. And then the thing that absolutely blew me away, I also like these little pillows made from photographs. He uses genuinely old materials, and then he does printing on fabric with a computer and using Crayola crayons and just all kinds of things. Guys, look at the sewing butler. I want this. I know that the boys have one of those hands that I bought for them when they were doing more drawing, and they have never done anything with the hand, except I think it's got some crayon scribbles on it or something. I think I'm going to seize it and then look for something to combine it with, because I didn't know I needed a sewing butler with an articulated wooden hand. But now that I've read this book, I desperately, desperately want one. Just, how could you not want that? I love the author's attitude. He uses cutter quilts for some of these projects, and I'm not a fan of the concept of cutter quilts. It makes me sad, but it really sounds like the ones he is using are quilts that were so far past being useful as a quilt that they could no longer be salvaged. This is one of the pieces from the gallery. He embroidered that block with the mourners and the willows, and like I said, I don't want to try to copycat his. This is one that does not come with a pattern, but I want to do something like it. I just, look at the embroidered frame on that. I want to go through all of our old family pictures, and I want to make pretty embroidered mourning frames for people I don't even know. If this is the kind of thing that gets you smitten and thinking about old fabric and old photos, and I couldn't recommend this book more. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. I think it would be more readable on Kindle Unlimited, because some of these pages are, the text is on a textured background, which was just hell on my eyes. So for reading the words, the Kindle edition would probably be awesome. For looking at the pictures and eye candy, I would definitely want the paperback version. But if you've already got the Kindle Unlimited subscription, by all means download it and read it and soak up the inspiration. I have actually had this book in my house since February of 2020 because the library closed and would not take their books back, and I don't know why I didn't read it until today. I am so glad that I did hold it back when I returned the rest of our books, because they have renewed them yet again until the end of October. This is the kind of thing that I would love to fill my sewing room bookshelf with. I've got a playlist of my other sewing room bookshelf videos if you want to look at those. Thank you for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my Romantic Tangle, and I'll be back with you with more videos soon.